Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers. Teaching and truth and sincerity lesson will be entitled The Parable of Lazarus Proves Salvation is Only for the Israelites. Luke 16:19, and Yahushua speaking, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. The rich man is a representation for the nobility of Edom, these 13 Edomite families that control this entire system. And the reason why this rich man was in purple, because it's his kingdom. And purple is also symbolic for royalty and luxury, okay? And that's the reason why he fared sumptuously every day, because he's blessed in his kingdom. Going back to the blessing Esau received from Isaac in Genesis, the 27th chapter. And by default, let's go to Psalms 73 and verse 3 NOT. You know what? Salakia. For I envied the proud when I saw them prosper despite their wickedness. Talking about Esau, the nation of Esau. They seem to live such painless lives. Their bodies are so healthy and strong. They don't have troubles like other people. They are not plagued with problems like everyone else. They wear pride like a jeweled necklace and clothe themselves with cruelty. These fat cats have everything their hearts could ever wish for. Again, going back into Luke 16:19, he was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously. Verse 20, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. Lazarus is a representation for the nation of Israel, beginning with the 144,000, okay? Or starting with the elect, beginning with the 144,000. And Lazarus, according to the Hebrew, means what? Strong's H, 499. Allah, Izar, which means whom the Most High helps. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate. The gate is symbolic for this man's system and how he inflicts pain and punishment utilizing his system, full of sores. Sores is a representation for the curses spoken of in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, starting at the 16th verse. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. The dogs is a representation for these other nations. Okay, they are in concert or joint heirs with Esau in Esau's blessing. To prove that, let's go to Psalms 83 and verse 1. Keep not you silence, O power, hold not your peace, and be not still, O power, for lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people, Israelites, and consulted against your hidden ones, Israelites. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, this New World Order. They are confederate against you. So the dogs came and licked his sores are these other nations Okay, and what they do, you have East Indians, Chinese, Africans, Arabians, Japanese. What do? They set up shop in so-called Hispanic and Black American neighborhoods. Okay, they open up um, gas stations, weave shops, Baskin Robbins and all that other shit. But they place their businesses in so-called Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, and they make a fucking fortune. Okay, so they profit off of the curses. Verse 22, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. When you investigate bosom in the Greek, it goes into paradise. Okay, and this paradise is referring to the kingdom of heaven. Verse 23, and in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and saw Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. So, in a nutshell, the Israelites will be blessed continuously, okay, in the kingdom of heaven. So our heaven will be hell for Esau, just like Esau's hell. It's like Esau's heaven is hell for us. Okay? So with that being said, Genesis, how in the world can Lazarus be in paradise, but Esau is in hell? And by default, these other nations will be in extreme hell for the first 1,000 years. So where's the salvation for these other nations if Esau is catching hell? Question for Genesis. Verse 24. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. And also another point. The reason why, if you jump back up to Abraham's bosom, which is spoken of in Luke 16 and 22, because the promise started with Abraham, okay? Hence, Genesis, the 17th chapter, right? So jumping back down to verse 24, and he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame, meaning Esau and these other nations will catch so much hell, extreme hell within righteousness, right? That a drip of water from one's finger will be fucking satisfying. But Abraham said, son, remember that you in your lifetime, your kingdom, receive your good things, your blessing, and likewise Lazarus evil things. Again, Esau's heaven is hell for Israelites. But now his comfort, our paradise, our kingdom, and you are tormented. Now you are in hell. Okay, so again, Genesis, how do you explain the parable of Lazarus? Because this parable proves that the kingdom of heaven will be erected, and Esau is going down. And by default, these other nations are going down with Esau. Verse 26, and besides there is a great chasm. A chasm is an opening, separating us. No one can cross over to you from here, and no one can cross over to us from there. So again, how can these other nations receive salvation? Based on the parable of Lazarus. Break this down. Verse 27, KJV. Then he said, I pray you therefore, Father, that you will send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment, and best believe they're going. Esau, the nation of Edom, and these other nations are going to this torment, referring to the kingdom of heaven, as fucking slaves, as enslaved people. Abraham said unto him, They have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. Verse 31, and he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. Because why? The prophets are living, okay, are living in real time. So if you don't believe a person that's living, how the fuck you gonna believe someone is dead? So again, this parable proves that Esau and by default these other nations will be enslaved. Lord will, this was edifying. Shalom.